And we have returned once more
Woo.
for some endless sea action. Who is our next contestant?
It is the eyes, no matter what.
Oh, it is. You're right.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Chooses what marks the people are getting close.
Yeah, let me take a look at my prompts here. Hmm.
Anything good?
We can bump into the world octopus again.
World Octopus, take 2. Doesn't make sense in our lore. The World Octopus is in that other place.
Well, what do we know of our lore?
We can run into his
Oh,
evil brother, the World Kraken.
The World Squid.
well, I mean, it's his rival, the world sperm whale, that tries to get the world octopus, and they have an epic battle at the bottom of the sea.
Mega shark.
No, it's the forest of violet sea kelp, from which the people extract their sacred dyes.
Oh.
That is the sign by which we know that we have arrived, I guess, in the
So is
kind
this-
of general area.
Is this an encounter? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we have us an encounter.
Okay.
Basically, just with these, you don't roll a prompt; someone chooses a prompt.
Well, who do we pick?
So our options are spirits. I guess islands just went, but if you want to do that, it doesn't really seem like an island though. It seems very much like an underwater thing. Or it could be dwellers or travelers. Those are the 3 options.
I mean, I'll happily go if you want.
Yeah, let's do dwellers.
Yeah, like something lives within
Something lives within the kelp. Yeah,
the
exactly.
violet sea kelp.
So do I still roll a prompt, or do I just go off my things now? Yeah, the stuff that lives
Yeah,
there.
you answer your questions.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Based on yeah.
So what does this thing look like, and what makes it dangerous? That kind of thing. So let me just take a look here. Okay, cool. Got it. So who's encountering me?
You described like the lead up to the situation.
Oh yeah, right. I gotta
Yeah.
do that. Sorry.
Like our first impressions of what it looks like.
I'm just gonna make sure. Make sure I've got this right. So, as you approach, this sort of opening in the ocean where it's shallow enough that you can see this many hued kelp under the ocean. The stuff that many of our divers and even people on the boats with like enough sort of nets and hooks and so forth would be able to pull up and dry out and dye for and extract dye from for various clothing uses and things like that. It's a place where, just like anything in nature, like a calm sort of ecosystem that exists on its own, there are things that lurk within the kelp. There are predatory creatures that lie beneath the sand under the kelp. Like, some of it grows up from these hills that, you're always told to take it from the deeper parts. Don't take the kelp from the shallow, easily reachable areas. And there's plenty of, it's like a little mountain range in here. With many dips and hills and valleys of kelp.
Well, and I like the idea that our tradition of like valuing people who can dive really deep and have those skills is because the best like sacred things are
deeper
in the ocean.
Yeah.
Even the
So-
even the safer things. So,
Yeah, exactly, right? That like your skill and ability to like dive and swim and hold your breath keep you safe from, being easy prey for these lurking things.
So I'm actually on board with taking lead
Yeah,
aspect
I
for
think
this
since
one.
we're harvesting dye and
Yeah, this is
know.
like absolutely your wheelhouse.
What do the people already own that will help them meet to this encounter?
what do the people already own that will help them meet this encounter? What do we have?
We have a lot of broken souls and a barrel of pearls.
We also have pearls, yeah, and actually pearls could be helpful. They're shiny and distracting,
And they're octopus pearls,
and yeah, they're
you will recall. So maybe, this whole like ink octopus sacredness thing. Just putting it out
Yeah.
there.
they could make for good distraction, certainly. If the kelp is what you want, you know.
All right, and the other question I would not mind asking, if I can stop losing my reference sheet, is...
And actually, if I may insert one more thing here.
Oh, for sure.
Sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking, but whatever. Screw it. I'm seeing connections and I want to point them out.
Yeah.
Is also that we have a deep respect for both the terrible beauty and the teeming life of the NLC. So even if these things are predatory, it might be that we offer them stuff. in
I
order
even want to
like,
say that these are pearls of the world octopus. These aren't just like regular pearls.
But yeah,
this,
the
this
ones
is the
that
good shit.
Yeah,
so we
that's the
can,
good shit.
we
This
can,
is the stuff connected to our beliefs and values.
I like it. And yeah, you're
Um,
right. You're right, Andrew. Like, we have that belief.
So rather than just swim down there and like punch these things in the face, we're probably very likely to like
Have a
treat with-
way to
treat them
avoid
with
them.
respect
Yeah.
and offer them things.
Yeah, and what skills do the people possess that might help them through this encounter?
Deep diving. Better diver. Better diver, the better. And also the most courageous.
Well, the most courageous is... Man,
she's
I
a
just
little
like...
AFK with illness right
Yeah.
now.
Well, yeah, like what we didn't record it under things lost, but like what effect did her illness have on her?
Like,
She's,
I think...
crippled, right?
Yeah,
Like,
she's crippled. Like, her body is weak.
Yeah.
so she's unable to dive.
Yeah, I imagine like much like the pilgrims, her skin is cracked and bleeding, and it's like
Yeah.
we're doing what we can to alleviate that. But
I mean, I'm amazed we didn't throw her overboard like the others. But anyways,
Yeah. Well, she's one of
She's
us.
one of the people.
We have a-
Unbreakable
we have
bonds
an
of
unbreakable-
fellowship,
yeah, unbreakable bond of
Andrew.
fellowship with our own people, but
all I'm saying is maybe when people are sick, they stop being people. Maybe we're
wow,
like,
wow.
Well,
I've-
actually,
these are not the
think-
views of Andrew Gillis. These
I
are
know, I did not.
expressions of what the people are
Well,
like.
I actually think that this isn't the case because this is a holy place for
okay.
these people. And sure, she may be weak of body, but she is still strong of heart and strong of mind.
Yeah, send her in. It's gonna be
So
great.
I think they have this tradition where it's almost done as a sacrifice, but they will send someone who they believe to be their strongest down with the pearls and to
Okay.
collect these dyes, because I envision that their beliefs are, if they are worthy, they can properly collect these dyes.
Yeah. So you're sending her down with the pearls to like place
Yes.
them and in position to offer them, sort of thing.
Exactly.
At least some of them, yeah. So she descends into the water, and there's this vivid. Are there other people with her, or is she alone?
I think there might be one or two people, but I don't think they're near to where
Okay,
the spot
They're
that
waiting.
she has
They're
to go.
waiting, right? For
Yeah.
The result of this. To
It's
get
like
what
they
want.
swim down and they watch and like confirm that she's done the thing.
So
and
so she dives down. Our dear Aroa dives down, sick and weak, though strong of heart, with the pearls or some pearls in her arm, and she dives as deep and deep and deep as she can into this like forest of kelp, and there's a small space in like this dip at the very bottom in the sand where she lays down these pearls, and holding her breath to see what happens and to make sure that like the creature is distracted. We see, like, camera wise, we see the whole like large hill of sand that she's in front of sort of move, and all the kelp on it sort of shift and wave, and some of it even broach the water as this thing like sits up basically like at the movement in front of it. And these two giant claws like emerge from the sand as if like trapdoor spider style, like up from under the kelp, and there's kelp growing off its back, and this sort of crab-like mandible face like pulls forward with its little mouthy things, like little grabber mouthy things. I don't know what they're called. And
the mandibles and the little
and scoops like some of the pearls, but our dear friend is perhaps maybe not far enough away, because it's gonna eat the pearls, like whether that's good for it or not. They're shiny and distracting, like the fish or creatures that would be here, and so it takes to them. And while it's doing this, you can plunder the kelp with impunity around it, because it's only got this one attention sort of thing. You could take the stuff off its back if you wanted. You could take the stuff deeper. But I think something bad is going to happen. Like, this is not set up in such a way that you'll get away scot-free. Whatever that happens to be is up to you, right?
Okay, so
I think it's a loss and a win.
Loss and a win?
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew for the loss, because it's just hilarious every time. You know what? No, I'm changing it. Andrew, you get a win this time. Sean, you do the horrible thing.
I need a win. Every time sometimes you gotta pitch me a slow one so I can just get a home. I need a win.
Exactly. So you take a win. Sean, you do the loss.
Maybe the loss is not what we expect. Who knows? Big ass kelp hermit crab trapdoor spider.
Okay, I have one that's real weird.
Okay.
So a seafaring skill is mimicked or refined. And I think that in observing these... Okay, so here's the thing, right? Is the people literally, like, we don't have a memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like, explicitly, we do not have a memory. And so us seeing these things, like, outside of the stories that we have about them, like, even if people had been here before, they don't really, like, remember it. And so, like, we could have done this every year for the past 100 years, and the people just, for whatever reason, right? So, as if seeing this for the first time, folks are, like, observing these creatures, these, like, hermit crab, trapdoor spider things, and how they, like, move and hide themselves. And I think the people develop this, are, like, inspired to mimic them in their way of being, like, under the surface and concealed. And so, like, as we bring up the kelp, and we have this idea, something about the, like, magical nature of the kelp causes our, like, the reflection of the flotilla and the flotilla itself trade places across the surface of the water.
Oh yeah, nice.
So now we, like, live on the underside of the flotilla,
That's
as
cool.
like this kind of weird. I don't know how it works, but we have a seafaring skill now.
Some kind of crazy refraction weirdness. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not quite a submarine because we still go along the surface of the water, but we're just underneath.
Yeah.
And the people are able to live this way.
That's awesome.
Like the way that I kind of see it is like an ant nest that goes down into the water.
Yeah, or like if you're familiar with ironclads, which were a type of warship from like the Civil War period in the U.S., and it was basically just like you had this ship and it just was like barely above the surface of the water, so that you couldn't shoot cannons at it.
Yeah.
And so there's like this, they build out underneath instead, and dwell there, and can kind of like they have no silhouette on the horizon. They're just kind of this like thing, this like lily pad moving along with people living on the underside of it.
Fantastic.
I love the description of, so you couldn't shoot cannons at it. Like,
Well, you know, it's the whole thing. Like how if you shoot like bullets into water, they like stop, right? So yeah, you keep all your safe bits. I mean, they don't like stop immediately, but it's harder to move something through water than through the air.
Yes.
So yes.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of options for loot loss, really.
I'm excited to see how you can creatively match our dear Andrew. No pressure.
I could turn someone into a submarine. No. No, I just like make people either mad or sad, and like that's kind of like what I can do. So I think one of the most appropriate ones here is one of few envoys grows hateful or heartsick or is lost. But I don't know that Aroha is really an envoy. So like I think that Ruiha didn't realize that Aroha went down into the sea for this purpose. Like I think she was off doing something else, and I think that like she's been treating her for so long, and she just became like very, very concerned. She's like, where is she? Where is she? She should be resting. And they were, at some point she figured out, oh no, she's gone down there. And so I think Ruiha, who is neither as strong of a diver nor as, sturdy of a person in general, goes down there. And I think she catches Aroha right before the crab does. And I think she like flings her out of the way with like her last bit of strength.
Because of course she has no hope for herself, right?
Right. Yeah. That's also what I'm looking at, because she's like lost all hope, and so she gets dragged away by this crab in like a sea of pearls, and then Aroha is just like wide-eyed and horrified as this occurs.
I love the idea too that like even if your body is crippled, as long as your heart is still like fierce, you can do this task. But Ruiha, who is like healthy, if not like the fastest or whatever, but because she was weighted down by despair, like could not survive this task.
Yeah, and so like she ends up in the balance instead of Aroha, and she pulls her, like hurls her away, and then Aroha ends up like on deck, like wheezing and coughing, but alive, and that's the last we see of Ruiha.
Nice.
The last we see. Hermit crab food.
Well, it's really easy to add that one to the list, Sean, because you just put Ruiha under things lost. Just her name.
Yep.
All right, cool. There
we are.
Ripperino. Healer, optimist, rip.
I can only hurt people.
Didn't-
That's my only
I
We
talent.
can
split the party
only-
and the healer
I
died.
can't
I
even
can
hurt the
only-
right people.
I love that. I can only hurt people. Okay. It's time. The 5th month. The open of winter. Remembrance. Whom is our encounterer?
Me.
Okay, Andrew.
Because even though the people don't have a memory, you know who remembers stuff? Ghosts. Spirits and
Yay.
stuff.
Ghosts remember things. Do you want me to roll a d8 for you?
Roll me up that D8, please, and thank you.
Call 3.
1.
Aw, 1.
No. So, how about them ghosts?
Yeah, okay.
Spooky.
Yeah, so it's definitely this one here, and then
Okay.
what makes this thing dangerous?
I don't know. What does?
Okay, I got it. So, it's like, you know, the weeks following, the sky is really like, it's not like one big uniform cloud, but there are like lots of little islands of cloud in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And in the distance, like, we don't see a storm coming, but we hear the peal of thunder like roll across the sea, in this like vast empty track of sea where we can't, there's no like land visible. And yeah, this thunder just like rolls to us, but with no lightning, no, other signs that we would normally associate with a storm. And so the people look to the sky, and they see like shapes moving between the clouds in the distance, these like long serpentine forms. And so now we are under the water, and we look up into the sky, through the surface of the water, and we see these enormous fish swimming among the clouds. And they're incredibly like sinewy and elegant, and just like, incredibly large, with like ornate like beards and tassels that are like braided with coral and pearls, and they like glint in the sky, catching the like morning light. It's this kind of like bleak winter morning. And these like enormous godfish seem to be migrating off into the distance. And they leave this like trail of sparkling, like, I think like it snows maybe for the first time on our journey.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
in the
winter,
wake
right?
of- Yeah, so this is like the first, we get this like very gentle snow that comes down and collects on the underside of our ship that is above water, or of our flotilla now that is above water. And these beautiful serpents like fly towards the distance.
Well, we can't use the eyes.
And maybe
Use-
as further detail to this, like in their wake, these swarms of fish like fly in their wake, these like enormous schools of fish. Tasty, delicious fish, right? The promise of food follows them.
There's no fish on land, but there are fish in the sky.
It's just science.
Yeah, and so it's like these glittery silver shapes that kind of like flit and move. They're moving like birds do, and maybe they are birds, but we call them fish because they're animals, and we are the people of the sea, right? So there's these, but they are silver and they have scales, and they fly.
Go,
Yeah.
voice of the people.
Okay.
Voluntold.
Yeah. I
just
guess
wanna
I
see-
volunteer.
I just want to see how the voice of the people deals with flying scale fish.
Everyone else is on their union break. Also, yeah, I love that we don't get the eyes. Like what I just described, I have all the answers for in my like playbook for eyes, but we can't access it, and it like baffles us and throws us off when we see spirits and stuff.
Hmm.
And you know, we're traveling to the fishing place.
Yeah.
Maybe these fish are too.
What patterns or natural laws govern this thing's actions?
So now that we have this like strange new perspective where we're on the underside of the ocean looking up like through it into the sky, the people have begun to understand the sky as being fluid like the sea, and that it has its own currents and flows, and that, you know, we know of like migratory fish. And so that these fish in the sky might do the same. They might all go to a place, just as some fish, like, you know, swim up river to spawn and then come back out to sea. And so that kind of rhythm of the seasons and stuff might be reflected in their movements, and that they might be going somewhere specific.
Okay. What tales of opportunity do we know of this thing or things like it?
I think maybe I wonder which story this kind of relates to, or which warnings, maybe.
The octopus world. The octopus.
Thanks, Elf. That's good. It's very helpful.
I'm just trying to fill up this space.
And sorry, can you repeat the question, Sean?
Sure.
Yeah, Sean has like crazy questions.
Yeah.
What tales of opportunity do you know of this thing or things like it? I am the voice of the people. I will repeat the questions.
Yeah, what tales of opportunity do we know of this thing? And so there's a story of whales that walk, and that they forever chase these fish that fly. And it's like, it's one of those like ridiculous nursery rhyme kind of stories where the people have always thought like, oh yeah, what a silly story about like whales that walk and fish that fly. Yeah, that's totally, like, you know, this is some make-believe bullshit. And then it's like, oh, there's some flying fish.
Just right there in the sky. Look.
And so these walking whales, you know, like they're horses basically that gallop along the surface of the water, but the people refer to them as the walking whales because we don't have context for, again, animals that live on land or other places than the water.
Yeah.
And so the closest analog we have is whales. But there are these wild horses that chase the leviathans that fly through the sky, in these great, you know, herds, or we call them schools, or pods, I guess, of whales. And yeah, that the leviathans leave, bring winter and bring snow behind them, and that the horses, the walking whales, like gallop along the snow as it lands on the water, and follow them. And that these are like, yeah, the walking whales are like playful, and, you know, live forever just like the leviathans do, and have seen everything.
Okay, then how we're gonna. So, Gear, what's up with Avarice again?
So he's one of the elders of one of the families that lives under the flotilla,
Sure.
and he knows many things. He knows about the sea and what is in it. He's essentially a man who has lived so long that he can't be a hunter anymore.
I gotcha.
Because he can't be this wisely sage because we don't got them.
I have a thought about Avarice as well. Is that maybe like part of what marks you as being like too old to serve like a direct functional purpose in our society is that you can't sing anymore? Because we've only described him as like barking orders, and
Yeah.
maybe he has to like speak in this very clipped way because his singing voice is gone, and so
Yeah.
he can't like sing the song of the hunt and like do all that stuff.
Oh.
But he still like knows lots of things.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a crowd of people who gather up above the deck again, and Avarice will be leading them, and also there are Araha and Halye, and he looks at them and he says, "It has long been a hope of ours to meet these creatures. They have much wisdom, and he says basically what we will seek to do is we will hunt them not as prey or with weapons, but with with our sincerity and our aspirations, that they may lead us to the fishing grounds we seek." And he looks at Araha and he says, I know you have suffered, and I know it is rough, but we need you to guide the way and keep an eye on them. And then he looks at Halye and says, we need your song to draw their attention, so that they may take notice of us.
And again, like Halye can't hear, which I love. Like everyone's still talking to them like they can hear, but they can't. Okay, so which prompt are you choosing just to help me?
So my
a little better.
I just approach it relying on truthfulness and heartfelt whispers to touch its heart. Like I don't know what we can do in that regard. I mean, I guess it could just be relying on the beautiful songs of poetry to make a connection. I guess that's sort of what I set up here.
Yeah, like you're trying to, in some way, like make nice with the Leviathans or the Walking Whales?
The Walking Whales.
The Walking Whales. So, like, as their migration comes, you're going to try to, like, convince them to help you or something.
Yeah, to show us the way. And
okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
maybe I'm trying to lean too much on characters we already have established this late in the game, but
no, that's all good. And so, yeah, I think this plan can work. Like to treat with the Walking Whales can totally work, but that it'll have a cost.
Okay.
Like you'll get things, but you'll have to leave things behind. Is the way I want to characterize the loss, if I may.
Okay.
Not saying what exactly, but because the Walking Whales come, galloping along, like they move at this very fast pace. I picture them kind of like running along the surface of the water, but kind of behaving like dolphins, where they like jump and leap, and only they like dive underwater for fun and like do tricks and like call to each other, and so y'all can gain 2 things and lose 2 things. It's like a big changing up of
Okay.
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
If you want to pursue this path of working with these, you know,
Alright.
alien creatures, right? It's going to involve a lot of change.
Yeah.
So pick one of each, I assume.
I want to give Andrew one of our gains.
You can so I can't.
He
You can actually.
Yeah, I can't. I can.
Yeah.
You can name me.
Yeah, Luke said that we could, like in the case of multiple losses and whatnot, I could choose the Endless Sea player, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, that's.
And so, yeah, how do you want to split it up?
I want to give you a win. I want to give Gear a win and a loss, and I want to give Elf a loss.
Okay.
A loss of the heart.
Heart loss. The worst.
I lost my heart once.
That's my heart forever. Oh, this is my first loss.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Huh.
She just picks sad things anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think when the first time I played this, I was like, "Oh yeah, we gained something," and then I would describe something really horrible.
Yeah.
Just be like, "But it's necessary. Like we need to change in this way," you know, like because you can characterize it however you want. But okay, well, I have my gain. My gain is nice and straightforward.
Sure.
Which is that as part of this whole process, like a number of people befriend the walking whales and like learn to like run with them.
Okay, so like they can skip across the surface
So
of
they
the
like
water.
like dance along the surface of the water, like somehow keeping up with these, you know, like horse things.
Sure, that's pretty cool.
Running on the like snowflakes that are left in the wake of the leviathans, because they like land on the sea and they don't melt. They like float on top of it like the petals of flowers.
Oh, cool.
And so the the walking whales and now the people like run and dance along these like snowflakes, these crystals that float on top of the ocean.
Oh, fantastic. I know exactly what the loss is then. So in order to do this, you had to get close to them. And the flotilla itself gets trampled.
Oh yeah, like
and broken apart
Oh,
in
no.
exchange for this gift.
Yeah.
So now you only carry the bare necessary things on your back.
Well, shit. That was a hell of a loss.
Yeah.
Also, however, we lose the value. We lose the value to trust not the people from the deep. Because, I mean, the walking whales, right? Like, we're their friends now, so I think we just lose that value. That's probably the loss on my end, though it's kind of more of a win. I don't know.
And the thing that we win is an oddity from a distant land. So it's this trident that was impaled into one of the walking whales. And each of the prongs are where did I lose? I lost it. There we go. It's has this wire wrapped around it, and it's kind of like barbed wire, but where the barbs are, it's these pointed, broken fragments of glass. And down the shaft of the trident is this intricate silver designed handle, essentially. and you're able to pull this out of one of the walking whales. So the people now have this thing that they managed to pull out.
Cool.
Yes, an oddity, right? Like
Yes.
this is a totally foreign object to the people.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, why would you put 3 tips on a spear? That's weird.
You're supposed to eat with it like a fork. It's a trident.
It's for a giant. It's a giant fork.
Cool.
All right.
So
And I now believe that this moves us into the final month.
It does.
6th month, the hands choose what final challenge must be overcome. These might be meant to be 2 separate ones, but I think in the interest of time, we collapse them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Elf or someone, could you roll me a d8?
You choose.
There's a choice.
There's a list on your
On
playbook.
your-
Oh, no. I was going to do this as what this place will look like, essentially. Or does that not work?
no.
No, that doesn't work.
Doesn't
Never
work.
mind. Cool. Let me pull. Losing my reference sheet again. It's fine. Okay.
Oh.
So, the 6th month, the Heart of Winter, return. It is not home that you return to with the walking whales. At least, not a home that you've ever remembered. It's the home of the Lost Land, where the Sea Sage betrayed the world octopus and turned all this water into death, essentially. And as you skip and cross through the waters, you come across this section that keeps getting darker and darker and darker. And eventually the sea itself is black. The crests of the waves are this viney red substance that floats on top. And it becomes apparent to these people that the walking whales weren't leading them to a salvation, but they were leading them to where all the fish died in the sea and where rebirth needs to happen. And as you stand still looking across this torrent or this raging sea of black and red, you start seeing a figure spiral out of the depths of the water. It is a faceless man, but down his body is these barbarous thorns and these mouths on his hands. And his bottom half is it's an octopus, essentially. And he calls out the people and he asks them, "Why do you trespass where you do not belong? What all belongs here is simply mine, and forevermore will be mine." And it starts to dawn on you that you talk to the Salt Sage himself.
Which of us will approach this?
Guide us, heart of the people.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's gotta be the heart.
Okay.
Bake it away, Elf.
And so, the oldest and wisest among us, dear, what was his name? Dear
Avarice.
Avarice, has to be the one to approach this being. I'm going to ask questions now, however.
Oh, absolutely.
What do we have? Who loves this thing? Who fears this thing? And who hungers for it?
The world octopus fears this thing. The creatures of the sea love this thing. And the thing that hungers for it are the walking whales.
Okay.
And the walking whales are magical and wise, y'all. So
Does
Yeah.
this thing conceal a secret heart, or is it cold and unfeeling?
I have to look up my prompt again. It is cold and unfeeling.
And so full of salt.
being a pure salt.
So salty.
It's almost as salty as a League player. Almost.
Well, Avarice is not going to let this one creature, no matter what they are, stop the people from making the voyage to the promised fishing lands, which, if it is the place of rebirth, we'll never have to move again. We'll just, when the fish rebirth, we'll kill them and eat them. It'll be great.
Keeping in mind that also we don't know how to bury our dead properly and cause there to be a death mist.
Listen, I'm not saying our plan is perfect. I'm just saying the heart wants what the heart wants, and what the heart wants is fish.
The way to the people's heart is in their stomach, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
You face down some sort of horrible ancient horror, and you want through it for fish.
So Avarice steps forward and demands of the Salt Sage that he allow us passage, and that we have traveled so far and so long, and that what could the Salt Sage want from us? You know? What can we do for it to allow us passage into the place of rebirth?
Is that the question prompt?
I mean that's what I'm doing. I'm asking it.
Okay. Oh, I have to think about this one. This is great. This is fantastic.
Elf, please tell me it's your last thing that you chose. I will be very happy.
Yeah, of course it is.
Excellent, great. Gear, you're not allowed to know what it is.
What?
Just carry on. You're doing great.
Okay, sure.
Just give me that sweet role play, friend.
Oh, absolutely. And so like the mouths in its hands start to laugh. And it starts to, like, it's cold and it's sickly. And it says, well, there's one thing that you can do, as the other hand continues to laugh. And then the hands switch. And he goes, sacrifice everyone to me. And in my deaths, with your floating bodies, your souls will fish for as long as they want. And for all the things that they want.
Sacrifice everyone seems like a good deal. So, Avarice says, of course, if we were to sacrifice everyone, then there would be no reason for us to pass through. Surely there is a simpler deal. Surely there is something you could want from us. If everyone's dead, the fish don't really mean much.
But where you'll end up Oh,
So-
the fish.
So you would send us to the place of rebirth?
You will be reborn.
So Avarice walks towards our friend, the salt sage, to shake his hand on the deal. And what's his response to this business? I'm like, yeah, all right, seems fair.
So this thing, its hand can cover you.
Oh,
And
well, that's fine.
I think that's what happens. I think it slaps down.
That's
its
what you think
hands.
happens, but it's not, because I
But
was
it's not.
lying, and I have
What
a trident.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted.
I just needed him to bring himself close enough for me to use the oddity of fork thing directly into
Fantastic.
this fucking salt sage's stupid hand face.
So as it impales into it, it screeches, and the force of its screaming flattens the water, and it begins to crack in lightning, and it begins to disintegrate as it screams and screams in agony. And it starts falling apart into the water.
I was really hoping that.
And
would work
every
out.
time it falls apart or every bit that falls into the water becomes blue again and clear. And as it sinks, the ocean returns to this clear, calm blue. And the general shock and awe of what just happened kind of takes everyone back for a moment or two. And then you start to see it. See a fish jump out of the water. And then another. And then another. And soon, for as far as the eye can see, there's these fish jumping out of the water in this calm, landless sea.
Fish forever.
So, do we gain some stuff? Do we lose some stuff?
Yeah.
I think you know what you gained.
That's up to us.
Yeah.
That is up to you. I'm going to say 3 gains.
It's a big win for the people. We've been hustling all season, and this one's really match. But Avarice pulled it through with his.
With his
Been
old,
working on it in the off season.
his old
Couldn't have gotten here without our little ha. Yeah, they did a great job.
the old trident switcheroo maneuver. The heart of the
All right,
people
well-
is cold as ice and steely as the.
A sinus elf.
Yeah.
What?
We gained
Give
some
us-
things.
Yeah.
Oh right. One each.
One each. Excellent.
One each, dear fellows. Play of the game right there. Avarice with the sweet dunks.
All right. Unnecessary resource.
Fish.
Oh, the
No.
fish.
A massive wooden floating city comes up from underneath the waves.
Damn, that's a hell of a resource.
It's pretty good.
But it's a necessary one.
Yeah, we could definitely use it after you smashed our boat.
Well, so it floats on the underside, right? Just like
Yeah.
our boat used
Oh
to.
yeah. But it's a full wooden floating city.
Yeah, it's got like houses and stuff.
Yeah.
Cabins. It's cool. It's like a static platform ship thing. I like it.
Yeah.
I would live there and follow the heart of the people and eat fish. I don't know how the heart of the people became the mouth of the people. Like,
I think warmth returns to one of the people: kindness, love, mercy, or faith. And I think it's Aroha who, having made the journey, having lived to make it through the journey, her heart softens and she loses that rage that was inside of her.
hooray!
She was just hangry.
Yeah, she was saying.
I get like that sometimes too when people are standing between me and delicious fish.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I am going to elect to not choose from the list, but give an answer that makes sense. And so what did we just get here, really? I mean,
We're still terrible people.
Yeah, but now we
Yeah.
have infinity fish.
well, and so this fucking guy, this salt stage guy, right?
Yeah.
Betrayed the lost land and all that crap.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
What we got was revenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sweet, delicious revenge.
I think maybe what would be interesting is if we gain
Best-
memory again,
Best served cold.
like this ancient city that was under the water, like it's our city.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the people built it long ago and were driven from it and have like returned to it now, and it has like writings that they produced and like their own history that
Ooh.
they're able to reclaim, having wrested it away from the salt sage and his whatever apocalyptic vision. So yeah, we get our memories back, but like our collective memory as a people.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Hell yeah. Is
And
that
so
the end
it
of the
was.
game? Yeah. Is that how
Yeah.
the game ends?
That's it.
Sweet. That was fun.
Yeah.
Good.
It's weird. It's weird for me to play a game that like doesn't have like, oh, my character is this. Like we're all just the people. I'm into it. We're all the people and like the bad guys and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and I like the way it does like a diceless resolution thing. It's
Yeah.
quite nice.
Yeah.
I believe it was inspired by Avery's Apocalypse World hack that does like a similar thing. It's like a version of Apocalypse World that has no dice, which has a similar thing for negotiating the moves, which is really cool. So
It's like,
it's fun to do it that way.
just give the solution a honest thought and apply.
Yeah, it's like strictly a conversation in the way that all role playing is kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
It's called Dream Askew. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Luke pulled from that to make this work, and it's really nice. It's very interesting.
No, it was a lot of
cool.
fun.
I'm into
Thank
it,
you,
and it's,
Luke.
And it's like not too long either. Like it's perfect. Like sit down and play around of it kind of thing.
And yeah, we did like the fast version, right, where we're just doing like one thing per season. Because you can do 2 encounters per season if you want to do a longer form game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And also like we played pretty quickly.
We did, yeah.
Definitely like dwell on them a little longer, and we didn't have a lot of like it fails, try again, and
Yeah.
Like back and forth stuff.
I think that comes from just I think we all have that improv rule where it's never just no. It's yes, but
yeah, and we were definitely playing towards that a lot.
Yeah, we definitely were.
keeping
I
things.
could see how you could be like, no, that doesn't work. You talking to these people, it's never gonna work. Like that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I had the only like straight up no, and that was just more to like make another situation happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like how deep you want to go. Like you can make all of the encounters be a little more fraught.
Yeah, and you can make more characters. I think we stuck with a pretty small stable of people. So
Cool.
Yeah, we had 4 ultimately,
yeah,
which is pretty. a pretty tight ship, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, let's do our shout outs and then we're out of here. We're gonna just cut it short tonight because we're done our game. What else are we gonna do? So let's start with Sean. Sean, go.
Hi, I'm Sean, aka Hyena Spots. You can find me at Hyena Spots with a Z on Twitter, and yeah, that's me. Also, be sure to check out Luke at Wildwood Games on Twitter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Luke.
Gear.
Hi, I'm Jacob, otherwise known as Gear Cavalier. You can find me on Twitter at Gear Cavalier, and I basically just yell about my love of robots now. That's about it. Because they're perfect and beautiful.
Okay. Andrew.
I'm Andrew. You can follow me on Twitter at Commute and Crow. I'm designing a game called Girl by Moonlight.
It's good.
Girl hack of Blades in the Dark. If you want to see more Girl by Moonlight stuff, you can watch me and a bunch of Australian people, including the designer of this game, play it on Saturday nights Pacific time. It's like 8 p.m. Pacific or something.
Oh, sweet.
So keep an eye out for that. That starts this coming Saturday.
Oh, first game this Saturday?
Yep.
Nice.
I'm not sure what series playbook and stuff we're going to be doing, but
Darkest Night, Darkest Night, Darkest Night, Darkest Night, Darkest
It
Night.
looked like
what
in Darkest
Elf's
Night.
vote is.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna do Darkest Night, and we're gonna end up being like the cheerful, happy crew.
That'll
Let's
never
just be
happen.
real here. Let's pick
never-
the happiest book that Andrew has.
That'll never happen.
Make it the evil one. Any
And-
book with me running it is the bad one. But
I
yeah,
got to run the bad one, and it was fun as fuck.
you can also check out me and Elf doing some Roll20 stuff, playing Burning Wheel, and playing on the official
Official D&D channel
Twitter
on Fridays.
channel. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Makes me feel like a legit badass.
Oh, and one last Girl by Moonlight thing is that I'm releasing another update like late this week. So things are going to
Sweet.
keep changing and evolving. So
What's
keep an eye on
what's the update? Can you sneak preview?
Well, so the last update had the Magical Girls in Giant Robots series playbook, and this update is going to touch that one up a little bit. I'm revisiting some of the character playbooks and cleaning up some of the use of language, making things more consistent, that kind of stuff. So
Hell
Awesome.
yeah. All right. And I'm Distracted Elf. You can follow me here or over on Roll20 app as well, with Andrew and various other sundry badasses on there, and also on twitch.tv/D&D on Fridays. We do lots of tabletop things and also video games, which I want to do more because I like them. And Divinity Original Sin is really addictive. I'm not gonna lie. It's a super good game. But hard. Anyway, I don't know why that's part of my shout out, but there you go. Bye everyone. Have a good evening. Yes. And follow Wildwoods Games on Twitter. Because they made this game. You should do that. Later.